They're delicious. It's a take on my favorite candy bar. It's ooey and gooey. It's sweet, crunchy. It's sweet and salty. It's the perfect candy bar, I think. Welcome to this candy adventure. I'm Andrea with AJ Sweet Lane, and we're going to be making AJ's PCP bars, pretzel caramel peanut. These are a perfect balance of salty, sweet, and crunchy with a professional chocolate finish. I'm going to show you how to make them into small bars or into one big bar using a mold. So let's get started. You'll have a list of equipment to use for this recipe, but I'm just going to highlight a few of those items right now. You'll see that the recipe is in ounces and grams, so you're going to need to use a kitchen scale. It's more precise and you're going to have more consistent results. And then we've got an 8x8 inch pan, and depending on the curves of your pan, it might vary the amount of pretzels you need for the recipe. Mine has a slight tilt, so I need less pretzels for the bottom than I do the top. So this may vary for you. Then you absolutely are going to need a candy thermometer. That's why we're here to make candy. I like using a digital candy thermometer. The only downside is sometimes the steam from making the candy can cause the display to fog up and sometimes warp over time. I absolutely love using this candy thermometer spatula. It is perfect for tempering chocolate. I can stir my chocolate and know the temperature of it at the same time. If you don't want to use something like this, you can use a heat-proof spatula and an instant read thermometer. And then we have a 2.2 quart saucepan. This is what we're going to be using to make the caramel, and it's also going to be the bottom later for my double boiler. And then we have a stainless steel bowl that's heat proof, that's going to fit on top of the pot, and you just want to make sure it doesn't touch the bottom of the saucepan. And then we've got the square silicone molds that we're going to use to make the big bars. And whenever getting a silicone mold, you just want to make sure that the inside is shiny, because if it's dull, the chocolate's going to come out dull, even if you have your chocolate tempered. So make sure to read the recipe in full, top to bottom, that you have everything you need before getting started. So let's get to candy making. So you're going to take your 8x8 pan and you're going to spray it with nonstick spray, line it with parchment paper, and then give it another spray. Just warming up our 3 ounces of peanut butter so that it's going to be more liquid for us to pour over our pan. You're going to start by pouring your warm peanut butter over your greased 8x8 pan. Get as much as you can out. And then you're going to spread it evenly across the pan. Now you're going to add a single layer of pretzels on top of the peanut butter. The peanut butter really acts as a glue for the pretzels. You may need to break up a few pieces as you get to the last row to have everything fit snugly. Time to make caramel. We're going to measure out our ingredients using our kitchen scale. The 8 ounces of sugar, half a teaspoon of fine sea salt, 4 ounces of water, a tablespoon of vanilla bean paste. If you're using vanilla extract, you won't add it at this point, and then a tablespoon of corn syrup. This is going to help prevent it from crystallizing. We're just going to give this a stir with a fork. Let's combine. You ended up splashing sugar granules on the side. You just want to brush them with some water and a pastry brush, or you could alternatively use a clean damp finger to move them down. And we're going to put this on medium heat. Thermometer on standby. Prep our heavy cream. It's going to be 8 ounces, 1 cup. You'll see that bubbles are starting to form on the edges. And of course, we cannot forget our whisk. I know caramel can seem like it's scary, but it's not. You can do it. You just need patience. Make sure to keep an eye on it, because that's when things can go wrong. You step away, that's when it's going to turn and burn on you. You can see that it's bubbling up even more. It can take about 10 minutes for this mixture to come up to a boil and get to the point where it's going to start caramelizing. Yeah, we got even more bubble. You can see that it's pretty evenly bubbling up vigorously. It's going to be clear. It's going to bubble like this. This is how it's supposed to look. And it's slightly slowing down. So the closer it gets to caramelizing, the more slowly it's going to bubble. So in the beginning, it bubbles very vigorously, and then it will slow down. You'll see it start to turn color on the sides or around the edges first. All right, so I can see some changes happening on that edge there, so I'm just going to give my pan a little stir. This is just going to encourage even caramelization. Okay, it's turning a little bit more, and you can see how it slowed down even more. It's starting to look golden, looking pretty good. We're almost there. See how the bubbles are tinier. This is pretty amber color that we want. Pour in half the cream. It's gonna bubble up like crazy. That's okay. This is what it's supposed to do. Shocking it into submission, and put the rest in. Then you're gonna keep it on the heat. It's gonna bubble up. And once it's evenly bubbling, we're going to attach the candy thermometer. All right, so it's going to bubble up like this. This is what it's supposed to look like. We're going to attach candy thermometer. And you want to make sure that your candy thermometer isn't touching the bottom of the pan. You want it kind of submerged within the liquid for a more accurate temperature. Right now it's at 222 and we want to cook this to 240. Right now, if you just stopped and took this off, put it in a bowl, it would essentially be caramel sauce. And this can take about 5 to 7 minutes to get up to temperature, depending on your stove and the heat. We're up to 231, got 9 more degrees. Okay, it's at 240. We're gonna turn off the heat, take our thermometer out. If you're using vanilla extract, this is when you would add it. Just a little stir. I'm a big fan of stirring. That's probably why I like candy making. Add our peanuts. Stir with our spatula. Look at that. We got caramel, people. We have our delicious caramel. It's ready to be poured. And we're just going to spread it around. So we're going to let this sit for about 10 minutes, and then we're going to put the rest of our pretzels and peanut butter in. So we're just going to put on the final layer of pretzels and peanut butter. So at this point, it's just cooled a little bit. It's still a little bit warm, so the pretzels are going to adhere to it. Been cooling for about 5-10 minutes. Pretzels going 2 at a time. But you don't have to rush. So it's very similar to what we did in that very first step. We're just doing it on top. And at this point, this is where you're probably going to have to break up the pretzels to fit snugly at the top. And this is just going to depend on your pan size. And a little bit. Now we've got warmed up peanut butter, and then we're just going to pour this over like so. If there's some still left in there, it's not the end of the world. I'm gonna smooth this out over the pretzels. I'll make sure to get it into the edges. All right. So now we have our pan prep. Cover this in foil and put it in the fridge to harden for about 2 hours or overnight. So now that our candy is chilled, we're ready to cut. I'm gonna lightly oil my cutting board. Then with my tray here, I'm just going to use a knife to cut the side so it releases more easily. And we're gonna use the parchment to lift it out. Oh my God, it's so exciting. It is a little sticky situation with the peanut butter. It's okay. Then we're going to put this on our cutting board. And at this point, this is the fun part. You get to decide how big or small you're going to make these. I'm going to use my ruler to help guide me. I'm going to make smaller pieces. So I'm going to cut these into 6 strips and then each strip into 5 pieces for a total of 30 pieces. So now we're going to prepare our candy slab to make the big bars. We're going to trim about 1/2 inch off of each side. And I know you may be thinking, what are we doing wasting candy? It won't go to waste. You can snack on it. You can dip these strips. You can put them all into one big mold. Never fear. See, just a little snack. These are going to be about 2 by 2 inches. We're cutting them into 3 strips and then to 3. We're going to have a total of 9 pieces. Today I want to talk about the type of chocolate that we're using. Ideally, you want to use high quality chocolate that's real chocolate, as in it contains cocoa butter, and you'll be able to see that in the ingredient list. Well, unfortunately, candy melts are not real chocolate. You can still use them for this project, but you're not going to be tempering it. You would just follow the directions on the packaging. It's not going to taste as good in my opinion. I think this is of higher quality and it's worth the cost. So I like using Calibet milk chocolate. It comes in these calettes, but don't be confused and think about using store-bought chocolate chips. Those are meant to withstand high heat and they are not as easy to temper. I also like using Ghirardelli chocolate bars. You just make sure to finely chop these up before tempering. I'm gonna measure out our chocolate with our kitchen scale. Okay, so I'm putting all of my chocolate in this bowl at first, but since I'm doing the seeding method, I'm going to take 1/3 of it out. And as you can see, these are small enough that I'm not going to chop what I'm going to be initially melting. I'm just going to chop my seed chocolate just so that it melts more easily. We're going to get our double boiler ready. We have a saucepan here with about 1/2 inch of water that we're going to bring to a simmer. It's up to a boil, so we're just going to turn down the heat, more to simmer. Make sure that your bowl doesn't touch the bottom. I'm going to put this on top. Start moving it around right away. Constantly be stirring and kind of getting at the bottom of the pot. Just keep stirring. I'm just getting some of these chocolate pieces stuck to spatula. So it's getting more melty, and our temperature, it's 93 degrees right now. So this is milk chocolate. We're gonna get this to about 105. We don't wanna go over that. I mean, really, we're just looking to have everything melted, but we don't wanna overheat it. Movement is your friend when it comes to chocolate. And it's almost all about melted. We're at 102, 103, so I'm gonna take this off. Add my chocolate seed. I'm gonna add all of this except about maybe 1 ounce. This will be my emergency chocolate. If for some reason it ends up not being tempered and I need some more unmelted chocolate to help me. So you're just gonna stir, stir, stir. And I still have my double boiler here in case I need to pop it back onto the heat. The temperature is coming down. That's what we want. We want to get this to 86 degrees. That is the working temperature for milk chocolate. All right, so it's cooling down, but we still have chunks of chocolate. That's okay. We're going to pop it back on the double boiler for about 5 to 10 seconds. Keep stirring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Pop it off. And just keep stirring. This is why you want your sea chocolate to be cut kind of finely, so it just will melt more easily. So with tempering chocolate, when you initially melt it, you're breaking up the structure and you're breaking up the crystals in it. And then by adding the unmelted chocolate back in, it's going to help reform that structure, and that's what's going to give it that snap once it sets. Pop it back for another 5 to 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Take it off the heat. Keep stirring. I think we're almost about there. All right, this is looking pretty good. Everything is looking about melted. Right now it's at 87 degrees, so really just want it down 1 more degree. To test the temper, so I'm just going to take the back of a spoon and dip it in and let this sit for about 2 minutes. And you're looking to see how long it takes to set. If it's tempered, it's going to set more quickly. It's going to go from looking wet to looking more matte. If it wasn't tempered, it's going to stay looking wet for longer. And I actually can already see that it's setting. So there you have it. We have tempered chocolate. Okay, so we're going to temper some chocolate by using the microwave and the seeding method. So I just put my chocolate in the microwave for 30 seconds. And it's going to look like nothing's happened. And that's okay. Just give it a stir. Pop it back in. We're going to pop it back in for another 30 seconds. I give another stir. Parts of it are looking melty for sure. Kind of blabbing up. That's okay. All right, I'm going to put this back in. I'm putting that back in for 30 seconds. I'm turning down my power level. For me, I'm putting it at power level 6. I do have a 700 watt microwave. Give this a stir. I'm looking a little more melty. Give it a good stir. So now I'm switching up to 15 seconds at a lower power level. I don't want to scorch the chocolate. I feel like it's easier to do in a microwave. More melty. And I just want to double check the temperature of this with my instant read. So it's 88. Pop this in for 15 seconds at power level 6. This all looks melted. It's saying it's 93, but it looks all melted. So this is melted. I'm going to add my seed chocolate, and I add all of it except about an ounce, and that's going to be our emergency chocolate. We added our seed, and the temperature come down quite a bit. It's at 81 degrees, so we need to kind of heat this back up because we need to heat the residual, but we do not want this to go over 90 degrees. I'm going to time cook for 10 seconds, power level 6 for me. All right, I'm going to pop it back in. We're going to do 15 seconds at power level 6. Okay, just keep stirring. When it comes to chocolate, there's just lots of stirring. This is right now at 86 degrees, which is the temperature we want for milk chocolate, but we still have these unmelted pieces. We're going to pop it back in the microwave. At this point, you're going to just do short bursts because we don't want to overheat the chocolate. 7 seconds at a lower power level. Okay, this is looking pretty good. It's at 86 degrees. Check the temper. I'm just gonna dip spoon in. I'm gonna let this sit for about a minute or two. And what you're looking for is you want it to go from looking wet to looking matte. And it should do this in a minute or two. If it's taking longer, then it means it's not tempered. I can see that it's already setting, which is a great sign. Yay! All right. That was tempering chocolate using the seeding method with the microwave. I'm tempering some white chocolate that I'm going to color myself. If you're looking to use colored chocolate, you definitely can buy the candy melts. I don't like to use them, so I like to color my own chocolate. White chocolate, I feel, has the lowest melting point. I mean, it's going to depend on the cocoa butter. With white chocolate, I will melt it in the microwave for shorter bursts. I'm using, once again, the microwave method where I'm not seeding. I'm just going to be just barely melting it and then using the residual heat to melt the rest. I only put it in for like 15 seconds. It may look like nothing's happening. Stuff is happening. All right, back it goes. All right, we're going to do another 15 seconds. This is more melty. I'm just showing you what I do with my process. I like to color my own white chocolate because I'm not a big fan of candy melts, but I see how they are convenient and more affordable for people. One of the reasons I don't use them is because they have palm oil, and that's why I got into candy making. Is because my boyfriend was allergic to palm oil, and he couldn't have a Snickers. That's how I got into candy making. So I never bought candy melts for coloring. It would kill my boyfriend. And also, I think this is a more delicious option. But if you are going to color your own chocolate, you need to make sure that it's an oil-based food coloring. So I like to use Color Milk. If you add a water-based or a lot of those gel food colorings, they're water-based, and it will cause your chocolate to seize up because chocolate does not like water. Okay, so it's looking pretty melty. I'm not gonna pop it in. I have a feeling this is gonna be enough to have melted all. Just gonna keep on stirring. We'll do the temper check, don't you worry. Just keep stirring, just keep stirring. All right, so this looks pretty good, but we've got to do the test. And I've got the tiniest spoon. All right, we'll let that set for a minute. Another little secret about me is I'm a big fan of tiny spoons. For me, it makes desserts last longer, seem more like a treat. I don't know, I'm just all about this tiny spoon. And of course, for your white chocolate, you don't have to color it all. You might just want to drizzle white chocolate on your milk or dark chocolate, and that will also look fabulous. This one is taking a little bit longer to set. All right, it looks like it's set. This just took a little bit longer than my other ones. Let's see, what's my temperature at? Okay, so actually this is a higher temp than you normally would want white chocolates. So it's 88 degrees, and we actually want this down to 84. So I'm gonna just a little bit more of unmelted chocolate. And just keep stirring. So that's why it's good to always have a little bit of unmelted just in case you're finding that it's not tempered. So we didn't start as if we were doing the seeding method, but it wasn't working out. So now we're adding in a little bit of the unmelted, like as if we were doing the seed to help bring this down to temperature. I do feel like white chocolate is more temperamental than all the other chocolates. Let's check the temp. We're down to 86. Better. Just gonna keep stirring. All right, we're gonna do another temper check. Gonna let that sit. That is setting. That's what we want. So you can see that there is a few little bits of like unmelted chocolate, but we're at the consistency, we're at the temp that we want. Because I only added probably, I think, like 3 calettes. So I'm just taking them out. All right, so I'm gonna show you the difference between tempered and not tempered. So this one is the one I thought initially was tempered. It was kind of taking a little longer to set than normal, but this was the tempered one. And so I used my chocolate, and you can see in this one, when I touch it, it's soft, and it's been sitting here for quite a few minutes, so it did not set. And as this one, when you touch it, that just shows the difference. Untempered, tempered. And then I'm going to add some red coloring. A good trick with filling a pastry bag is just stick it in the bottom of a glass, fold it over the sides, and this is going to make it easier to fill. All right, so we have our tempered chocolate, we have our peanut butter candy little pieces. So I'm just using a fork, just dipping it in, and then doing a little shake for it to get the excess chocolate off, and then place it on my pan that's lined with parchment. And then after dipping a few of these, while it's still wet, I'm going to put the sprinkles on. And that's one of the great things about making candy at home is you can decide to decorate these however you want. You can overload them with sprinkles. You can do different colors depending on the occasion, your mood, the holidays. So I'm going to put my 4 and I'm going to sprinkle them because I could see that first one was already starting to set. I'm just submerging it into the chocolate, giving a little shake just to get the excess off, and then placing on my pan. And then as you're dipping, your chocolate is going to start to cool down. You can always put it back on the double boiler for about 5 to 10 seconds, just being careful not to overheat it. And I'm going to sprinkle these while they're still wet. So we're set up to make our big bars. Spoon in. 1.7 ounces of chocolate. I'm going to take one of these squares and take this and plop it in, press it down, and then I'm just going to cover the rest in chocolate. And if you wanted, you could add sprinkles at this point. If you wanted sprinkles on the back, and then I'm just going to proceed like that for the rest of my bars. And if at any point this is starting to get too firm, you can pop it in the microwave or your double boiler for about 5 seconds. And then, if you end up leaving some of the peanut butter on the cutting board here, no worries. The peanut butter really was just to kind of act as a glue for the pretzels. That way, so there'd be pretzels on the bottom and the top. Down. Take an offset spatula to smooth it out if you want, or just the back of your spoon. And now I'm going to show a version of what we're going to do with some of those extra bits. I'm proving to you we are not wasting candy. Like that. One of these squares. Just smush them all together. We're just going to go with the flow here. Plop it in. Look at that, okay? Now, my mishmash one. I'm going to put a little bit of sprinkles on it. And there you have it. Now I'm going to just continue the same process for the rest of my bars. We're going to unmold a couple of these big bars. Let's see. Oh my gosh. Look at that. Oh my gosh, that is gorgeous. Oh my gosh, so excited. Oh man, another one. Okay, this one you can see there's just a little bit of peanut butter showing because I pushed down just a little too hard. That's okay, we can just cover it up with chocolate. No worries, we're not gonna sweat it. Look how cute! Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm so excited. These look great. Look at the candy that we've made. We've got the smaller bars, we've got the big bars. So the next step is to decorate them. I'm going to be tempering a little bit of extra chocolate for drizzling. I'm going to put it in my pastry bag and I'm just going to cut the little tip off. I'll do a test on my parchment just to make sure it's the right size, got the right flow. And then we're going to spruce up these candies. Got my bag of tempered chocolate. I want to do just some fine drizzles. Just going to do kind of a test over here. Ooh, yeah. And you can just do kind of this zigzaggy pattern. I'm going to cut a little more off. Do kind of some swirls if you wanted. Keep on just the zigzag, but you can really do whatever you want here. Glitter is everywhere. That's okay. Oh, yes. Oh, I love it. Oh, yes. I am loving this glitter spray. You don't have to do this. I think it's so cute and festive. A few things you can do. I mean, you can just drizzle. I mean, that looks great right there. Honestly, my chocolate is starting to, because it's kind of cooled down. So sometimes I have to push out any bits of chocolate just so it's flowing right again. You could also pipe a heart, put sprinkles so it adheres to the heart. Give it a shake and it'll just be on that heart. That's the idea. And then I'm going to do one with a bow. And this one I'm going to do another drizzle. Just a little bit of sprinkle. I'm going to write someone's name. Like I'm going to give this to somebody. I have a friend's birthday coming up, so I'm just putting her name, Kelly. You know what? I'm going to just fill in the bow just with some zigzags. And then let's see. And there you have it. The heart with the sprinkles. That's cute. And then I'm going to do another heart. This time I'm going to use a different colored sprinkle. Great. If I wanted to, I can pipe stuff over these drizzles. I can do hearts. I can put people's names and just customize them and make them great. I am loving how these are coming out. Customize and put someone's name. We've got this cute heart. Got another cute heart. Very festive. These are our big bars. You can keep on decorating them and make them however you like. Great job. And there you have it. Look at our delicious candy, the AJ PCP bars, pretzel caramel peanut. We've got the small bars, we got the big bars. So let's take a look inside. We've got layers of the pretzel, the caramel peanut and peanut butter. Delish. And now let's break into one of these big ones. Oh my gosh. Delicious. Oh my gosh. I hope you love these as much as I do. Thank you for taking this course. Enjoy the bars.